Everybody's doing top videos, and I don't really like top videos, but I feel left out. You don't need 20 for 20. Obviously, things have been a bit weird, and suddenly I seem to be enjoying toys again, and that has been incremental as I've got bits and bobs throughout the last year. I have been called once or twice basically a third-party wanker, and that I don't like normal toys anymore. And I want to dispute that, and then I'm going to ruin it all at the end. So I'm going to try and go in order. The order doesn't really matter, but these are bits that I will have acquired probably in the 18th month since. So, I mean, I'm amalgamating the time that I haven't been into robots into a great big kind of, this is my journey back into finding the joy of toy again. The first one that I bought was him. If I go up close like that, look, how can you not fall in love with that? That's absolutely fantastic. The yellow eyes. Oh, I tell you what, I wish I could paint yellow eyes on Space Marines like that, because they're so sunk inside the helmet, and yet you get these beautiful, super crisp yellow eyes. The transformation's good. The feel is good. The one thing I had to say about this toy when I got hold of him, more than anything else, was this feels as close to third party as you're going to get while not being third party. All of the tolerances, all of the joints, everything is super stiff and super flexible and just super. The colours are great, the story is great, the mould is great. It's just great. The helicopter mode is a bit weird because you've got the double cannon. It's fine, it doesn't matter. It's literally plastic joy. I love that thing. I got it on a whim because we just stopped by one day and said, so if you forgive me, my glorious assistant is off camera because she doesn't like cameras. She said, do you want to pop into Smith's? Smith's is literally 10 minutes away, if that. So we popped by there every now and again just to see what's in there, and in there was him. I picked him up, I played with him, and it gave me that little silvery feeling that just says I like toys again. Then after that, let's get this right, because I walked past one. Him. This is great. I'll give it all the original kudos that I gave to, what's his name? Spinister?
Yeah.
I'll give it all the original kudos that I gave to Spinister on this one, and add that this is so close to the Generation 1 version of this toy. It's like, I actually said on a TFYTC podcast, back when we used to do those sort of 4 or 5 years ago, it would be really nice if they took all of the G1 stuff and made G1 using current technology and current materials. And then they made that. Do you know why I like him? He's bright orange. Look, you see, of all the stuff that was in the boxes, especially when you think that I do suffer from a horrible case of movie toy, which means I tend to like grey things quite a lot. If I were a bumblebee, I would land on this flower. The colour of it is fantastic. I couldn't. All right, yes, the pins underneath broke off. There was a problem with them. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said in the last video. Just shut your crying, you bunch of whiny arseholes. There was a little problem with an easy fix with a tiny little bit of sandpaper. The amount of people that I've seen sit there going, I didn't have to fix my toy. Well, you're right, you shouldn't. But you might if you want to enjoy it. Doesn't matter. Or do what Brad did and add magnets. Then was a little bit of time out, and we didn't get anything for a little while because I haven't had as much money as I would have used to have had on, because it's just gone on like being alive. We've all had a case of that from time to time. Now, I have said in the past, proudly so, I got asked on one of the podcasts once upon a time, what is your favourite transformation piece? And my transformation piece of that I've always appreciated and never understood why, it's just how it is. I really like legs. I find of all the things where people transform, the way that legs transform is often the most interesting for me, because it's the most mass shifty part of the transformation. And then I'm walking by and I'd seen this in the shop 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, I want it. I took the plunge and I could not have been more happy. I'm really glad I got the Decepticon one, not the normal one. I have very, very few Mirages. This could be the only Mirage that is a G1 looking Mirage I have. I've always wanted Earth. If you've got a well-priced 3p Mirage that I could put in the display cabinet, hit me up. I love him because the leg transformation is fantastic. The tune that it came from is trash, if I'm honest, but his part in it and how this happened was very interesting. I got this literally a couple of days from watching the cartoon, and it just felt very nice to attach one to the other. If you haven't played with one of these, get one, because the way the legs turn into legs from being the car is sublime. It just makes me happy. It just makes me happy. It's that little bit of having a robot where you just, and you don't use the instructions. You sort of semi-intuitively push and pull things and just, it's good. That's kind of why a lot of us do it. And that got lost. That little joy of discovery, it got lost. And then I bought this because from the moment I saw it, I knew I had to have it. I love this thing. This is probably, all the other little bits were just like the tinder. Not that tinder. The tinder wood. And then this came along and was the match. And after I got this, everything just went, oh God, robots are cool, aren't they? Look at them. Whoa! Play mode is average. But the robot mode is fantastic. The way all of the accessories bolt on here is fantastic. The way his hand pulls out, and you get a spare hand on the back, which is his spark extractor, is fantastic. The size of it is very good. I mean, look, this is how big it is compared to my face. The face sculpt on it, amazing. The way this is fake, but it's not fake because you don't really see this when it's in plane mode, and this is real, and I really like it. I really like it. And again, tolerances, fantastic. No problems with it. Doesn't have floppy bits. It doesn't suffer too badly from big chasmous holes inside the arms and the backs of the legs and stuff like that. Very, very well engineered. Very well engineered. Awful plane mode. Savagely bad plane mode. I tell you what though, I will be buying that 3p one when it comes out because, lovely, lovely. Not many bits left. I don't want to make it a really long video, but you do know what I'm like. When I were young, I used to play hockey in the street outside when I was sort of 13, 14 years old, and there was a lad that lived over the road who was 8 or 9 years old, but goddamn could this kid skate. He was fantastic. So we sourced him a couple of left-handed sticks, and at the age of 13, 14 years old, we did knock the door and go, is Spider coming out? Because his second name was Webb, so we called him Spider. He could play really, really well, but he had loads of age-appropriate toys that made me very happy, and he had Centurions, and I was like, oh God, they're good, but I'm too old. Girls are going to see me playing with toys, and then they're going to go, oh, not go near that one. That one's an idiot. Now look. One of the things, I got most of the ones that I wanted, but one of the things that I always wanted was this guy. We went to see Paul Hitchens at Spacebridge because my birthday was near, and I can't remember why, but Emily said, I'll buy you some things, and I don't know if I took the piss a bit or whether you were just an idiot and bought me too much and spent too much money. One way or the other, I got loads of stuff and brought it home and just went, oh, look, I know what I've got, so I might as well play with it. Turns out I wasn't supposed to open it and keep it for my birthday. We've had a discussion about this. We won't be doing it again. Oh, hacker from Centurions. I cannot tell you how many times. So pre-COVID, back in the days of freedom, me and Em would go to the toy show in Birmingham quite a lot, and it's great. I love going to the big toy show in Birmingham. Zort Rider would go up there. We took Rudy up there one time. We'd meet people that we'd see. We knew people that ran stalls. That sort of stuff. And it was just a good day. The restaurant wasn't too bad. And they had everything from dinky cars to model kits to Star Wars to robots to old tin toys that cost a small fortune. It was just a really nice... But there was always a couple of stands that had lots of 80s. So they had Mask and Transformers, and I saw a Starbird there one day. Oh, God, I'm going to get a Starbird, and probably a Big Track as well, just because, you know, get an old one, fix it, paint it up like an army tank or something. Anyway, walk past hackers all the time. Fucking fortune. They are not cheap. But I knew after not getting a hacker for ages, you know, once you've not got a toy for a couple of times, you realise that I want this toy enough that I'm maybe going to start thinking about paying the price tag that people are asking for it. And we went one and it's it's actually blue. These go green after time, but this one is blue. So where he lives in the house is a nice sun-free place. It lives as you go down the stairs. We put a shelf up specially where Timey sent me a Centurions album and that sort of thing, and he just lives up there. And I'm not sure what to do with him, but he was the missing link. He was the one that I wanted. His face is savagely ugly. Hey, you guys. But the helmet's perfect. The face is perfect. Everything's perfect. He doesn't come apart. He's been glued, which I didn't know when we got him, but it's not the end of the world because I really wouldn't have had anything to do with him anyway. Now, one of the things I've always... I'm going to put him down nice and safe so he doesn't get ruined. One of the things that I've always preached, brother, is relationships within communities. Something I've always been very proud of is that I and we have always pushed the community aspect of what we do. And someone who does robots, named Paul, also does car stereo stuff. And it's Paul Bryan, and I have a wonderful time waffling to him about car stereo stuff. Now, someone who listens to this and doesn't know about car stereo stuff probably just thinks it's a case of taking one unit out, taking another unit out, you press play, it makes noise come out the speakers. Not for me. I'm a little bit more into it than that, but I've never had anyone to talk to or play with when it comes to this sort of stuff. And although he lives like Manchester way, it doesn't really matter. It's nice just to sit on Facebook. We send each other photos of our progress within fitting stereos within the car and that sort of thing. And that made my day. And then one day we were just waffling and he said, "Oh, I've got a box of stuff. Do you want one of these?" Oh, I had a look at it. Way! It's a Terra drone, I think they're called. It's not complete, but it's only missing this back piece that goes down here. There's a sort of rectangular grey plastic piece that pegs on there. But apart from that, it's lovely, look. Now, the reason why this is important is for two reasons. Reason number one is it's nice to get a gift from someone who just wanted to cheer someone else up. That's how the world works. I really enjoy that. But more importantly, it's nice to find a buddy that likes what you like and just have a waffle about it. Because Centurions isn't specifically like a community-wide thing. I'm sure there is one if I were to go and look for it, but it's not going to be as big as what I've been used to. Anyway, I got it, and it was just nice. It was a nice thing to have happen to me, and it easily made this list because they're all stepping stones into getting back into doing things the way they're supposed to be done. Now, the last two are both number one. But the last... I never really pre-ordered things before. I do pre-order stuff now. I pre-ordered something the other day that I'm terrified when it comes through. I'm going to get the bill. It's oh dear. But sometimes you see something and you're just like, I have to have one of those. And this came up, and I very much knew I had to have one of those. And that is... I'm going to turn his eyes on. 303A Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie. Now, the moment I saw this, I was just, I have to have that. I have to look at it. Just look at it. I mean, the very best bit about this in the nicest possible way, baby got back. Because when you look at the back, look, if you move the chest piece forward, his spine, Soundwave does the same thing if you get that. I love it. How many toys have you got in your collection where you've purchased something and you've just put it on the shelf within half an hour of owning it, and then it becomes the ownership of the shelf as opposed to you, and your collection swallows it up and you don't play with it anymore, and it just becomes another thing that you've wasted your goddamn money on? This is not that. This has been pride of place in the house, somewhere in viewing distance in the living room since the moment it came out of the box. It was very expensive. I don't regret a single part of buying it. This is probably one of the best things that I own in the entire collection. And it's not a transforming transformer, and I am willing to have the discussion with you, but being a transformer is a noun and not a verb. It's a name and not an action. It is a transformer. It's a licensed transformer. It's not a 3A oversized knockoff where you could debate that it's killing the scene, and if you were to debate that, then I would maybe be persuaded, because as much as I love them, yes, they're not genuine, and yes, it does do the scene harm. This is genuine, real deal beauty, and the only way you're going to get models of that quality is to do it in conjunction with Hasbro, get all of the original artwork and details and sizes and schematics and the CG template of what something is, and make your own version of it. And then, by a weird twist of fate, because I sold stuff, doesn't happen very often, but yes, I sold I sold a big chunk of stuff that all went in one box to someone who was very grateful for it at the other end. And to be, the things that I sold, you weren't ever really going to see on display. They were some of those rare ones that just come along once in a while. And as part of the deal, the person that orchestrated this little transaction said, well, I've got one of these. Do you... And again, press the little button on his forehead, and his eyes come on. And having the Optimus is great, and having the Bumblebee is great, but having a Bumblebee and Optimus together is superb. They're heavy, but they're not scary. The way the knees work and the stuff like that, look, it's just... I don't see myself as a 3P wanker. But I do see myself as a man who maybe isn't quite as into the toy aspect of what they are. Because all the stuff, I'm not into G1. I don't want loads of G1 toys. I don't need them. I understand them and I respect them. And if you get them, then brilliant. People who keep stuff in boxes, though, you're mad. But it's not my thing. Because I remember it here and not here. So having those two stood together, absolutely. I said at the beginning of the year, I said a real while ago, if the only things I get in 2020 are Bumblebee and Optimus, I would be over the moon. And I never expected to actually have them in a million years. But things come along. And I didn't panic about it, and I didn't sweat about it, and I didn't sit there and get, I can't get this one, and oh my God, I've got to complete the set, or otherwise I didn't get like that. There's no need to breathe. If you want things, you just keep your eye out and stuff comes to you. Yes? Make relationships, talk to people, and then people talk to people, and they say, oh, there's so-and-so's got one of those for sale, or these have just come out, or there's a second run of them, and it's relationships. It's all relationship building. And it just so happened that the opportunity for those two came along. And they really... That, as I spoke about in the video prior, changing my crazy pills that I was on and into something that allowed my creative juices to stew again. I've not got a huge amount of stuff. But the stuff that I've got has been the right stuff. And it's made me panic, really, about getting back into it, because the amount of stuff that I've got is probably a good, financially manageable amount of stuff. instead of the massive amount of stuff that I normally buy and then do exactly what I just moaned about, which is put them on the shelf into a collection where they disappear and you don't ever see them again because they come an amalgamation of a shelf as opposed to the thing that you wanted to enjoy playing with. Anyway, it's 2021. And I'd like to say we're just coming off the coronavirus epidemic, but we're not. I think really we're just getting into it. And we are going to have to find pleasant distractions for ourselves. So I guess the closing message is, if you've got a little bit of dosh to spend on something to make you smile, then spend a little bit of dosh on something to make you smile. But if you haven't really got enough dosh and you're spending it anyway, don't get into that bit because that's not good. Apart from that, have a nice 2021. I hope it's smooth as it can be. Shout out to Bisto, because to be honest with you, I keep watching Bisto's videos and every time I see it, I shouldn't mention singular people because it's peaking. But the truth is, I keep watching Bisto and his love of just nice things. And every time I see Bisto make a video, it's his videos that have made me say, I've got to go and make a video. Along with a million other people. But he doesn't just love robots. He sees things that he likes and he buys them and he gets them and he talks about them and he keeps them in his eye distance, in view. And I respect that. It's a good way of collecting. Good.